Okay, this is the bit that I'm going to use to create this profile of molding that I'm going to put on the bottom of my cabinet. And it's going to go on this way. This will be, actually it'll sit like this. It's hard to see because I've got that messed up there, but so this will be facing the door, or right underneath the door. But anyway, to create this profile, I'm going to set my bit at this height. That's it right there. And I've got some stock ready to go. I'm going to set my 0 point here. Right there. Now here's the only drawback, and that is that I would like to raise the bit up to get the profile, but because it's a multi-purpose bit and I've got this part of the profile right here, there's no way I can do that. I have to bring the work in this way. So I'm going to start my fence forward and then bring it back to my 0 point basically, and I'll get that set up and then we'll start cutting it. So let me get that going, and I'll make some molding. Not bad for my first run at it. I can't do much better than. Okay, I've cut crown molding before, but I've always done it freehand, which means I put it in here and I've always just pinned it against the fence. This fence is your represents your wall, and the bottom fence represents your ceiling. So for me, this is my bottom, the wall side, and what was I going to tell you? But you're cutting it upside down, basically. I guess that's what I need to tell you. So whenever I was doing it, it was always a bit dangerous, and I never had these quick clamps, which I guess the last time I cut crown molding was about 4 years ago or so, when I built my bar. So now that I have them, this just makes it a lot safer. You put on an auxiliary fence to keep it from kicking down on you or slipping, and then this stop block, which I need to use because this is a short piece. As it's cutting this way, it wants to push against that block. So all I basically have to do is just hold it in position here and make a nice easy cut. So there's the one piece. Then the other reason this has to be so wide is you don't want to have if it was narrow and cut through it, it's basically useless to you for the next cuts. So I'm gonna, as long as I've got it set up like this, I'm gonna make the opposite end cut on the long piece, or this, which is this side, I should say, same side, but when you put it on your cabinet, it's the opposite end. And then we'll switch things around and make the other two pieces. I don't know how well this is going to work, but you can see this thing's got a pretty good banana to it. And I want to show you how I made the mark for the length at the cabinet. It's a lot easier than trying to figure, hold it in the position where it needs to be, the finished position. But let me show you what I mean. Hang on. So if you look at this piece, this portion right here is the portion that goes against the wall, or in my case, the face frame of the dartboard cabinet. So you can see that that is a 90-degree cut right along this edge, and down is 90 degrees. And that is where it meets the corner of the cabinet. Let me see if I can show this to you over here. So as it meets the cabinet, let's get up here. That 90-degree cut follows this corner. And that's what you want, that's where you want your cut line to be. So what I do is take the piece and just put it up here, if I can show this to you. Let's see, I want to be on this side over here. And I lay my piece on, matching up that 90-degree cut on the right end, or the right side. Come down here, flush it up as best I can, and keep it in place. Okay, right there. And then make my mark, which I've already done. Because for me, I got one shot at this. So I'm gonna leave the pencil line and sneak up on it a little bit and see how it turns out. But I'd rather be just a hair long than short. So let's go see how it works out here. All right, because of the banana shape of this thing, I've got to push down on it to get it down and meet my fence on both sides. I got to keep it tight here and here. And I'm going to cut it purposely long, and what that'll give me is the visual here of my cut line on my auxiliary fence. I'll be able to judge how much more I need to take off. At this point, I can't really do that. So I'm probably a generous 1/8 long, but let's just make it and come back and trim it. Alright, you can see my mark here, and I'm, like I said, a good 1/8 long. So I'm going to go check it again, and if if my mark is ideally or right where I need it to be, I can now get that. I can now see how much I need to take off looking down the line here. Let me double check it. I'll be right back. Okay, the line looks good. I'm gonna leave the line, hopefully here. Let's say right there. All right, go try it. Okay, it's just a hair long, but that I can deal with that. So this is the other short piece I have. This is kind of where it always gets a little bit confusing for me. I like these short pieces to be long, and it's a lot easier to trim them to length straight. So I've got that piece, so I know I don't want to cut it this way. I'm just going to slide it up, rotate my miter saw, and cut it the opposite direction. And this should give me a very long piece, but it's fine for the other side. There you go. There's my other corner. So what I think I want to do is I think I want to put these together as a 3-piece. Put the 3 pieces together to make the 1 piece, and then put them all up at the same time. So I'm going to go over and check that out. All right, I'm going to try something different here. You can see that I've got my my cabinet sitting on a makeshift shelf there on top of one of my drawers for the Ultimate Work Table. I've also got it clamped on both one on each side there, so it's nice and solid and won't move on me. And what I've done here is, it's going to be tough to see, but I've got a couple of lines drawn here. One here and one over here. Maybe this one on the other side is kind of lighter wood. And these represent the distance I need where the bottom of that crown molding is going to land. 1.25 inches. Okay, so I've also taken the time to wrap it around on the both sides there as well. What I'm going to do is take this piece of scrap, which is good and straight, and I'm going to hold it up here on those lines and clamp that in place this way. So let me get a couple of clamps on this, and we'll come back after I have it in position. All right, I got it in position, and I just double checked everything using my square this way. So that's the same, and it's the same there. So I got a little bit of, whoop, bit of dip in the middle, but I'd rather have it the same on the ends here. Right there. Okay, so that's the platform I'm going to use. Find my molding here. And that's how it's going to sit. Now you can see I've got this bow in the middle here that I've got to deal with. And when I push it up against the cabinet, that goes away pretty much. I mean, I still have just a little daylight there at the top in this spot right here, but there's nothing I can really do about it right now. So I'm going to put some glue on this. I was, telling you I thought I'd do it in 3 pieces, but I'm going to do it in 1 at a time because this piece is so out of whack. So what I'm going to do is put some glue on it, pull it tight, and then I'm going to have to pin nail it to hold it in position. And I can see that when I was trying to do that, I moved my board out of position there as well. I'm going to have to reinforce those clamps with a couple of blocks in here. Well, let me get her set up again. I'll be right back. All right, that's always an adventure with me doing that crown molding. That little setup I had worked pretty well, having that ledge there to work off of. And this pulled together really nicely, actually. It's nice and tight along here, and I'm happy with that. So I got a nice corner on both sides, and I don't know if you can notice it or not, but right after I took these down, I noticed this piece here was sticking out a little bit, so I put a piece of the molding that I'm using on the bottom, actually, I guess I just realized that, as a clamping jig, and it fit pretty well. So it gives me a flat, and that allowed me to pull it tight to the case side here. So I'm happy with the way it turned out. It's this molding's been sitting around for quite a while. I got a little ding right here, but that's not a big deal. I'll sand on that a little bit. When I put it together, you get a little glue squeeze out. So I sanded the corners right away. After taking that glue off, most of it with a wet rag. But then I sanded the corners right away with some 180, and that kind of fills those joints just a little bit, so they look really good. And now I can go to work on the bottom. So the one thing I was checking here was to see that I was parallel, and I'm within about probably not even that, 1/64 of an inch. So this side dropped on me a little bit, or this side went up, I don't know which. Probably this side went up, I'm guessing, when I pin nailed it along the edge. But nothing that I'm not going to worry, it isn't anything I'm going to worry about. So there's that corner here, you can see. That looks really nice. So having that molding really helped out. And the one thing you'll notice is the difference in the color here. But this is all going to get stained, so it'll all even out. There, now you can see the difference in the color, how much lighter this is. Alright, I also took the time to make some custom glue blocks here to reinforce these. I'm not going to do anything special here, just put some glue on, give them a little wiggle, and just let them sit. So I've got one for each side, and then 3 for the long piece. And I just made them out of, actually I just made them out of a piece of scrap oak. So there's the middle, and I'm going to put 2 down on that end as well. So I'm just going to glue these in place, and that'll be that. That's all there is to it, just a little press and let them be. That glue will give it a nice little reinforcement, nice little bond. I don't expect anybody's going to be hanging on here, but just a little extra insurance, that's all. Alright, after doing that crown molding, this base molding is going to be a piece of cake. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to use my work surface here as my guide basically, and I'm just going to lay these flat on here, and once I get them stapled on, then I'll pick it up and put it on its back to make sure that I don't have any glue sticking to the bottom of it. Let me get some stuff out of the way here to make sure I have room to do that. Alright, here we go. Got a wet rag to wipe my fingers off on. Make sure I'm putting glue on the correct side. And I want to keep it toward the top here, or toward the bottom I should say, sorry. This glue soaks right into these miters pretty quickly. Lay that one down. All right, here we go. something behind this so I can push it in. There. That should be plenty on the back. I'm going to take my stop and put it on this side. So I can push this way. Step through here. Oh, I know what happened. One of my nails went through. Into my table. Let's see what happened here. That one right there. All of them. I'm gonna have to, that one's right on the edge too. Well, I'm gonna have to push those in with a nail set once the glue dries here. My angle is too steep.